Las Vegas Strip studio in scintillating Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Brad Stein. You're watching Bettor Center live on LouisDiamond.com, YouTube at Louis Diamond, and Facebook. We are here 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday through Friday. On the weekends, Louis Diamond does the show 7 a.m. an early start. We have count them four, baby, professional sports handicappers here to make us a little money, all the way from Arizona to the great state of Nevada, Las Vegas, right here. Let's introduce those four boys. We have Louis Diamond, we have Tony Gullidge, Chip Chirimbus, and Ross Benjamin. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. How the heck are you doing today?
Hey, good morning. As long as we got
Unfortunately, technical difficulties left me out yesterday, but I learned a lot over the weekend, and I want to tell you, I learned that LeBron James is the first player to win NBA Finals MVP with 3 different teams. I learned that Russell Wilson is going to have to pull a Houdini act almost every week to get the Seahawks to win. And I learned that the SEC can score some points, especially with that Florida game, the LSU and the Alabama. Those teams combined for over or just under 300 points. I also learned, Louis Diamond, that the Raiders can follow Bill Belichick and do a pretty good job to contain Patrick Mahomes. What the hell did you learn?
Boy, you learned a lot this weekend, boy. Give a guy a day off and man, he can fill you up with a lot of stuff. So good for you. So what I learned was if you watched the show yesterday, and I know we didn't have you there yesterday, and it wasn't your fault, but we crushed it on this show yesterday. I mean, holy smokes. I hope that the viewers really took advantage of it. We had a great day here, and we gave you lots of winners. I mean, all of us gave you Atlanta. That was a nice. I mean, come on, guys. That was the opportunity. It was a nice little dog for you. So maybe we'll see what goes here for you today. And, well, I'm sorry. I think the other guys had a team called the New Orleans Saints last night, didn't they? So what I learned is I'm going to keep riding with my gut, with my quarterback feelings, because even though his second half was very rough yesterday because they had him a little figured out, he still looks pretty damn good for a rookie. And what I didn't get out yesterday was the fact that he came off the bench that day and played the Chiefs real strong, showed that he would have been ready for this event. It proved last night. So you guys can send me that chicken dinner anytime you're ready.
Woohoo! Chip Chirimbus, what did you learn?
I learned you don't ever go against 4-1. Congratulations, Louis, on last night's big winner. But to tell you the truth, the most surprising thing I had is that Edgar Renteria, I believe is how you pronounce his name, is no longer going to be the manager of the Chicago White Sox, who made for the playoffs for the first time in 13 years, or since 2008. And he's been jettisoned. I don't know what's going on in sports where all of a sudden you have a successful manager after a decade, gets a team in the playoffs, and he's gone. So trying to find out the reasoning behind that, probably there's more behind the scenes. And that's pretty much surprised from what I learned yesterday.
And that brings us to Ross Benjamin. I know you learned a lot. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, just to correct Louis, you all had Atlanta. I had the under, so we swept the board with that game. So,
you're right. I knew we swept the board. I knew we crushed that game.
Yeah, no biggie. I mean, it's a positive thing. You know, I had, and I also, by the way, folks, if you viewed this show yesterday, you got my 10-star top play, my best bet yesterday, which was the Atlanta and Dodger game under the total of 8. What I learned yesterday, that Drew Brees is shot, in my opinion. Is he still an adequate quarterback? Yeah, but all due respect, he's had a tremendous career. He's got no arm strength anymore. There's no two ways about it. That team is going nowhere this year. Even when Michael Thomas comes back, it's not like he's a deep threat. They no longer could stretch the field the way they used to, A, because they don't have those types of receivers, and B, because Drew Brees doesn't have the arm strength. So that's what I learned yesterday, as well as the fact that after a 25-7 run in the NFL and college football heading into the weekend, including yesterday, I haven't been able to pick an apple off an apple tree in football this past weekend. And that's going to change this week. I guarantee you, Louis. Okay? Look at me in the eye, Louie. I mean that, okay? It's going to turn around this week. Back to you.
All right, I believe you.
Thank you. Tony Gullis, did you learn that Ross Benjamin can fill in for Michael Buffer if he needs a backup with a handheld microphone?
Let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, Michael Buffer, love that guy. What I learned yesterday, though, San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, I keep wanting to call them San Diego. The Chargers, they come out with the efficiency and ferocity of a blitzkrieg, but in the second half, that turns more into the ineffectiveness of the Battle of the Bulge, where their tanks are sitting there with no gas. I'm going to put this on the New Orleans secondary. I just thought those guys looked completely lost. The Chargers were able to use the big play over the top on multiple occasions, including the one where they took the lead in the second half. It was a 3rd down and 10, an all-out blitz, and the cornerback stares into the backfield while the receiver runs right by him for an easy touchdown. That's the kind of things if New Orleans is going to actually compete in their division, they're going to have to correct that. You just can't be having bombs dropped over the top when you blitz in like that. So, give credit to the Chargers for making the cover. I'm still a little skeptical about them. New Orleans obviously has deficiencies, that defensive secondary. And if you look at all their games, they've given up a lot of points. And a lot of it can be attributed to the fact that over the top, they're just not able to knock the ball anything effective defensively. They just haven't been able to get it done. So moving forward, definitely keep that in mind. I learned that Freed guy for Atlanta, the kid can actually pitch under pressure. 6 innings, the 1 pop shot home run. Both pitchers did well. Bueller, I think his problem was walking people, but he was able not to give up the big hit. Usually when you walk guys like he was, as we saw in that early game where Houston gave him the 4th out on a routine ground ball to Altuve in the shift, he just kind of casually throws it to first. Gurriel not able to scoop it. And what happens? The next batter, the inning should be over, and the next batter hits a 3-run home run to dead center. And that pretty much, made the result right at the beginning. So that's basically what I learned yesterday. You got to get the 3 outs when you can get them. And got to learn how to play defense on the back end if you're going to blitz up front.
Gentlemen, we're off to a hot start. Pat Riley hairdo, a tie, glasses. Ross Benjamin with the handheld Michael Buffer microphone. Louis Diamond's happy. And Chip Trimbus is the eye candy of the show. We are off to a great start. Game number 1, gentlemen. Here we go. Bills at Titans. Tuesday night football. This is not a lie. This is the new regular, the new normal. Bills at Titans. Bills minus 3.5. And this was an over-under of 53.5. We'll start with Tony.
All right, the main notes I've got here are 23 players for the Titans, players and staff. A total of 23 people have tested positive for COVID. None of the players that tested positive are going to be on the roster tonight. I looked through that list, obviously you can field a team and play a game. I really didn't see anything that overwhelmed me in terms of loss, but obviously when you don't have the continuity, that's going to be an issue. Also going to note that the Bills are top 5 in points scored and total yards, which for them, wow, that's pretty strong for a Bills team, usually built on defense. I did know Tennessee's defense, just terrible against the run, right? 166, damn near the bottom of the league against the run. I'm going to be honest here. I was looking for any reason I could find to play Tennessee in this game. I really thought the home side getting more than a field goal would be the play, but I just couldn't find it. The only thing I could rest my hat on for Buffalo's defense porosely is that they're very near the bottom of the league in 3rd down conversion defense, giving up 49% on 3rd downs, which is not a good number. It allows the other team to keep the ball and keep moving. But I'm gonna have to go with Buffalo here. I actually bought it down to 3 and paid an extra 15 cents. So I paid $1.25 to get the 3, as pretty much everywhere is 3.5s now. That's for me tonight. Buffalo minus the 3.
All right, this game opened up Bills minus 2, currently minus 3.5, opened up over under 54. Now it's 51.5. That brings us to Chip Chirimbus.
Well, I'm sorry that I have to disappoint the homer here, but I think this rescheduling of Buffalo may have had some kind of effect on them. I'm not too sure. I mean, their game against Kansas City was push back. And I think that possibly a 4-0 team like Buffalo might be looking ahead toward the Chiefs, even though they got beat last week. And Tennessee, though they're 3-0, is 0-3 against the number. They won by 1, 2, and 3 points, beating 3 of the dregs in the NFL. But I think this is a spot where Buffalo may get caught peaking. They're favored on the road. And, well, we'll just have to see how the virus affected the Titans. And I think Tennessee is the side here. I did post it tonight.
Ross Benjamin.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy! You put me in a tough spot. And I knew this guy from wherever he's from, Stamford, Connecticut, now in Vegas, sometimes in Florida, all over the map, and he's all over the map with this play too, I think. Anyway, having said that, look, 10 guys are out for Tennessee tonight with COVID-19. 10 of their 53, normal 53-man roster. Number 2, you're missing Corey Davis, and you're missing Adam Humphries, your 2 starting wide receivers who have accounted for 30 catches and over 200 yards thus far in 3 games. Chip did make an astute point. Tennessee is 3-0, but the wins were by a combined 6 points. And as we discussed yesterday, those 3 wins, not only by the narrowest of margins, but against 3 teams that are combined 3-12. If you know anything about Sean McDermott, his teams don't look ahead. They take it week by week. And Buffalo, look, they're 4-0 this year, but they're not in that position as a franchise where they're good enough to look ahead. And Tennessee hasn't been able to practice on the field, mostly virtually over the last 2 weeks. Their facility just reopened on Saturday, and Buffalo's been practicing right along. And there's a reason why this is 3. It opened at 2, went to 3 because of all these COVID issues. It's not a money-generated move. So I'm going to have a lean right now at this present time. I'm going to have to sound like a homer, but to me, you'd have to make a stronger case than Chip did for Tennessee. I'm going to take Buffalo here minus the 3.
Hey, you've been the homer for the whole season. It's worked out well for you with the Buffalo Bills.
Wait. Okay. I talked to Chipper about this yesterday. I used Buffalo once this year. Okay. I used them 3 times last year, won all 3 times. Now you're putting me in a standalone game, and if I got to make a choice right now, my heart's cast aside. I want you to somebody to rebut what I just said. Not that, they're going to be looking ahead because they're playing Kansas City next week. Come on, man. It's the NFL. It's not that good. Look,
that doesn't happen, Ross?
Well, it does happen. It does. Okay, it happens with the teams have had long-term success. It doesn't happen with teams that are, they're 4-0 this year, but they're not a Super Bowl winning team over the last decade. They're not a team that's been to the playoffs 9 out of the 10 last years. That's my point. Again, we have to, respectfully disagree on this one.
No problem.
That's a good point, RBWins.com. Louis Bag of Diamonds. What do you have for us?
I am going to side with Chip on this point before I get to my play. The fact that Kansas City coming up next week is absolutely something that has to be in your thought process because, they are the Super Bowl champs. You do have them coming in next week, and they did just get beat, so they're going to be pissed. That's got to be creeping in their head a little bit. You can't say it's not inside the head in the locker room.
What's Kansas City losing have to do with Buffalo? I don't get that. Explain.
Well, the fact that Kansas City lost this week will probably give double incentive for Kansas City to be on their A game. So
I agree
Kansas
with
City,
that. I mean, how does that?
They will be absolutely bringing their A game next week. So that's going to be on their mind. If you were in the locker room right now, sure, you're thinking about the Titans, but you saw what happened. You saw the Raiders beat the Chiefs. So you're sitting down saying, wow, if we can get the Chiefs next week, we're going to have a huge edge in this playoff run because Buffalo right now really sits second to the Chiefs. I don't see anybody above them the way they're playing right now. And you can call me a homer if you want to, but I'm certainly not a homer. In fact, last thing I want to do is back this team that has stabbed me in the heart many times. So I try to avoid this at all scenarios. But I sit down and say, yeah, you know what? Kansas City next week has got to be on their mind. Does that take me away from playing the game tonight? It takes me away from probably laying the 3.5, because like I've said before, I never, ever like laying 3.5 points in the NFL. It just smells ridiculous, especially on the road. But the road means nothing this year. It really means nothing. In fact, I think the road team now it covers more than the home team. So, there's an advantage to the road team right now. But all that being said, the Bills are playing the best ball. You're getting them at a short number here tonight, because if they can exploit this running game, look out. They're going to put a lot of points on the board, because they can run the ball and throw the ball today. And Titans, I believe, are going to be not as focused. Yeah, I think that the COVID issue has to be in their head at all. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of trying to get my head inside the locker room. And sometimes you see that does work. Like yesterday, I tried to feel what this kid was going through. I looked and see what he was doing, Justin Herbert. And he came out there cool as a cucumber against the Chiefs, the Super Bowl champs, in his rookie debut. Unexpected, last minute. That means a lot to me. And it showed again last night. He's cool. He's cool as a cucumber, and he's going to have a big career. So I recommend you follow him before the bookmakers could take that value away, because it won't be long. So, but yes, I think Buffalo is the play tonight. I won't lay the 3.5, but you know me, I'll play that teaser. In fact, I opened it up yesterday with San Diego. Again, I did a Tony with the Chargers and with the over last night, and I tied it into the Buffalo teaser. Hopefully, you took advantage of that, and if you did, hopefully, and I didn't say this yesterday, but you had to go to a 6.5 point teaser because you want to grab at least the 3. But actually, I grabbed a 7-point teaser, and I very rarely play that, but I crossed the 3. I got 3.5 tonight with Buffalo, and so that's what I would recommend. If you can cross it, I would cross it in with the over tonight. I think they can exploit and score some points.
Hey, Brad.
Louis, well said.
Point.
Do you have anything else to add, or is that it?
One more point, please. One more point.
One more point.
Tony made a good point. You always buy off the hook when it's key numbers in the NFL or college football. 3, 6, 7, 10. Pay the extra juice. 13, 14 in college football. You should always pay. You should always buy off the hook on a key number. Those are the numbers that games land on the most. Yes, you're going to pay the extra juice, but the juice only counts when you lose. You can live with a push. You can't live with losing by a half a point when a game falls on a key number. And all you need to do is hit one out of every. You need to just push one time by doing that for every 10 losers that you do it, and you're going to be on top for doing so. So I just wanted to make that point.
I'd like to add to that, if I can.
Go ahead.
All right. That are some extremely valid points. You got to know what the key numbers are when you're buying the points. And obviously, when you want to keep that juice down as low as possible. But when you're on the 3.5 and you got to buy down to the 3 and you got to lay $1.30, which they installed about 10 years ago or so, they really took that value out of it. And that's kind of what makes me a little bit more of a teaser player. So when I feel like I got to spend that kind of money on the juice, the high money on the juice, I'm going to go look at teaser options because I believe that there's going to be some value in there. So just my thoughts on that as well.
Thank you, Louis Bag of Diamonds and Ross Benjamin. You are watching Bettor Center live on LouisDiamond.com, at YouTube, at Louis Diamond, also on Facebook. Guys, we're going to move to game number 2. Also game number 2, Tampa Bay has a 1-0 lead on Houston. This opened up minus 105. It is currently at minus 111 with an over-under stuck at 8.5. We're going to start with the Chipster. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, isn't Tampa Bay up 2-0 here?
Yes, they are.
In the series?
I'm sorry, 2-0.
Right.
Sorry, 2.
You had a day off, Jeff.
Well, he said 1-0, and I said, did I miss something?
Right.
And maybe I have because I missed a lot.
Had a day off,
but,
obviously.
At 2-0, I've had Tampa both times, and I'm doing a reverse here. I'm going to take the other side because it's Yarborough for the Rays. He's not a strikeout pitcher, and I think Houston's going to put the ball in play, whether they know it's coming or not. And I've had a great run in baseball, winning our Mega Bucks again yesterday. Britain's is up to 18-4 with Tampa. And today I'm coming again in the same game, but I'm using Houston, a reverse field. And I usually don't like to do that. I usually like to say what I call following the X. In other words, you X a team if it won the day before, and they're considered to play the next day. But this is the playoffs. This is different. Houston doesn't win here. We know it's over. They're not going to come back from being 3 down. It's not the 57 Yankees. So I'm going to sit here and take Tampa Bay. I mean, against Tampa Bay, I'm going to take Houston.
Very fair. Tony Gullidge, you agree? Disagree?
The main thing I noted about Yarborough was his previous start. He threw the most innings of any start he's thrown all year. And the way I grade starting pitchers and trying to read the tea leaves, that's not a good sign for him. Anytime a pitcher exceeds their normal workload, you can expect a drop-off in performance the next couple starts. I expect that for him here. Urquidy for Houston, 2.60 ERA away from home with a whip under 1. Limited work, but he's shown to be proficient in this spot. Chip mentioned it. It's a winner-take-all situation for me. With the caveats against the starter for Tampa, Yarborough, I can find reasons not to take them. For me, Houston is the clear choice. I got it at -102. Houston, for me, is a clear choice in this game.
Ross Benjamin.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a law of averages play here because the first 2 games of this series went under, and I like this one to be a high-scoring affair. Urquidy, one postseason start this year, came against Oakland. He gave up 4 solo home runs. Houston's only scored a combined 3 runs in the first 2 games of the series. That's the bad news. The good news is they left 19 men on base, so they're not going without opportunities to score, and I think they'll cash in on those tonight against the more favorable pitching matchup. And if they can get the lead in this game, they're going to get the front end of the Rays bullpen, which isn't nearly as effective as their back end of the bullpen is. And keep in mind, these are 2 teams that have displayed excellent power throughout the postseason. The Rays have hit 17 home runs in 9 postseason games, while Houston has cracked 15 in 8 postseason games. I'm going to go over the total of 8.5 in this one. Brad, back to you.
All right, we go to Louis, Bag of Diamonds. Any teasers?
No teasers on the baseball here, but there are baseball teasers, believe it or not. But I think they're actually reverse lines is what they kind of are. So, but I got to kind of disagree here with Ross. I'm not saying I got a big play on the under, but I kind of see the under as a little bit of a play here, but I am a little worried about the under. But, Yarborough's been a solid under, 2-8 to the under his last 10 outings. Urquidy, 2-4, but that's not, that's a pretty small sample size. Yarborough did face them one time and went screaming over 8 versus the Astros. 14 runs scored in that game, so that does worry me. But Urquidy has been 4 out of 5 unders as well in his last 10 starts. So I see a little bit of an edge to the under. The games have gone under. And in baseball, when a total seems to be going one way, I never expect it to go the other way because it's not always pitching. It's a lot of times it's team. So I think I'm going to roll with the under here for a little bit here.
All right, gentlemen, that brings us to our game number 3. And Chip, this is game number 2, right? Yeah. The Dodgers and Braves, game number 2. I got it right this time?
You did. Good job. That day off. Right. You come back stronger.
He learns fast.
See? You see, I made one mistake and you got me. All right, Dodgers.
But you throw it at me. You throw it at me.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Ross gets you every time you pronounce someone's name wrong, which happens quite frequently on the show.
Every time.
Every time he gets it.
I'm a numbers guy,
Dodgers
not a
opened up
guy.
-175, currently -117, over under 8. Now it's 8.5. We're going to start there with you, Chip.
Yeah. Well, I had the winner yesterday. We all did here. We all liked Atlanta, and I'm coming right back at them. Everyone had keyed the starting pitcher for Atlanta yesterday, undefeated, And I think the key to the whole series is this Ian Anderson, 22 years old. He's thrown 11 and a half playoff innings with giving up only 5 hits, 17 Ks. He came in the last 6 games of the regular season in August 26th. He made his major league debut, and here he is in a focal point to get to the World Series. I like this Anderson. I think he's really tough to hit. I think he's the type of pitcher that knocks the bat out of your hands. And you know what? They have momentum. They have confidence. The Dodgers have to be questioning themselves a little bit, only scoring 1 run yesterday. And maybe these arms of the Braves, who obviously appear to be a bit underrated as they have 4 shutouts in the playoffs. I'm going to take the dog and look for them to put a lot of pressure on the Dodgers next time out.
Once again, those pesky Braves with that pitching staff. Could this be like the 90s Braves? What do you think, Tony G?
Well, this had me watching that game last night. I reminisced about the 1991 Braves with all the pitching and no hitting. Almost 29 years ago to the day, I'm still waiting for Lonnie Smith to come running around third in Game 7 after he was deep by the outfield. So where are you, Lonnie Smith? Why didn't you score? That was insane. But I did get a feeling of that watching that game last night. I'm going to just tell you right now, while we've been doing this show, I've got an alert from my book letting me know that Kershaw has been scratched from the game tonight due to back spasms.
Wow.
So basically everything I've spent an hour this morning doing with this game is garbage now. I'm going to have to go back, reassess, reevaluate, and figure out who the hell I like in this game. So I really don't have a play based on Kershaw just getting scratched.
Kershaw scratched. What do you think, Ross?
Gonsolin starting.
That's great information, Tony. By the way, folks, and Chipper, congratulations on that 18-4 run. If you're playing baseball right now, you know what? If you're betting on the Major League Baseball playoffs right now, you should follow that gentleman. That's Chip Chirimbus. Tremendous run.
Thank you.
And he's got a track history of winning at this time of year. Okay, so big games are for big game handicappers, and Chip certainly qualifies in that regard. That threw me for a loop, Brad. I mean, Ian Anderson, you guys have mentioned him on a couple of occasions, made the Jethro Tull reference. But you know what? All kidding aside, 7 starts this year with a 1.43 ERA and an 0.98 WHIP. 2 postseason starts. He has not allowed an earned run in any of those postseason starts. You guys mentioned the Atlanta pitching. They're 6-0 in the postseason so far. The one game they beat the Marlins 9-5. The other 5 wins, they've allowed a combined 1 run in those other 5 wins. So a bullpen with an 0.48 ERA in the postseason, 1 earned run allowed in over 23 innings pitched. And the Dodgers, I was going to mention that Kershaw has sort of simmered down that reputation he's had of, failing at postseason time because he looked awful good in the 2 starts this year. But that goes the rest. I'm just wondering, Chip, maybe it'll go with a guy like Tony Gonsolin tonight, who's been very good. What do you think?
They are.
I really don't care.
They are. He's starting.
I really don't care who they're pitching.
Is that who's starting? Okay.
Yeah, Gonsolin.
Gonsolin is starting tonight.
Okay, if Tony Gonsolin is their starter, then I like this game under the total, guys. I don't know if the total will change in that regard. I would think it would be somewhere around the same 8 or 8.5. I had the under yesterday on the show. I also gave it out as a 10-star top play. And as we alluded to, everybody else had the Atlanta game. So we were right on that. I'm going to go under here. If it's Gonsolin on the mound that's facing Ian Anderson, then I definitely like the under.
All right, Louis Bag of Diamonds. It looks like Kershaw's teasing the LA Dodgers with all those injuries.
That's all I can say. Ian Anderson tonight. Going to be rocking it out. But I was on the under with Kershaw, and I will roll with the under as well with Ross here, as with Gonsolin on the mound. I just think that this is number one, you got a ballpark that is not friendly to the home runs. Now you got a new retractable dome in Texas, which is not a lot of the big hits. So I'm gonna with that idea, as well as the fact that it looks like even without the pitching matchup. I don't know if Gonsolin. I'm glad Ross has a little more information. He's a reliever, so they're 2-2 with him. He's got two.
He's a starter. He's a
2-2 in his
starter.
position.
He's a starter, Louis. If you look at his numbers, I think
So-
you'll be quite impressed as a starter.
So, but it's gone under his outings. Only one over in the last 10, one push. So definitely looking like a nice underplay for tonight with the Dodgers and the Braves. I would roll with that under.
Thank you, Louis Bag of Diamonds. The most interesting play of the day is coming up, and we're going to start with Tony G, who's been kind of quiet lately.
Yeah, just listening, absorbing all this wonderful information these other guys are providing us. So I'm just listening and soaking it in. For my most interesting play of the day, going to be the Houston Astros. Best bet in MLB. Basically, the best bet I've got today is going to be Houston to stay alive in this series against the lesser of the Tampa. This is a spot where I'm actually calling for Yarborough not to be that efficient. I'm expecting maybe a few runs. And in these games, just a couple runs is all it really takes. As you watched yesterday, an error led to a 3-run home run, 3-0 first inning, final score 4-2. So everything happened right up front at the beginning of that game, and it basically bogged down, and that was it. So almost today, expect something similar. You're going to get something early, I believe, and then the bullpens will do the rest of the work. Houston gets the win, my most interesting play of the day.
RBWins.com. Who was your most interesting play of the day?
Yeah, it'd be Tony Gonsolin. By the way, Louis, he has pitched in relief this year, but mostly as a starter. So you weren't 100% wrong on that. But he's been. I mean, look at his numbers, Louis. I think you'll be pretty impressed.
Yeah, no, they were. It screams under, no doubt. You were on that, no doubt.
All right, so my most interesting play of the day, I'm going to wear the Homer hat, and I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills tonight, minus the 3.5. Buy them down to 3. Too many shortages for Tennessee, in my opinion. Not enough preparation time because of the COVID-19 crisis and their facility being shut down. You don't get sharp by virtual meetings. You get sharp by being on the field. And what concerns me with Tennessee, their defense, the last 2 games have allowed 30 points on each occasion, and that's against Jacksonville and Minnesota. And Jacksonville rang up 480 total yards against them, while the Minnesota Vikings rang up 464 yards against them. Also, Tennessee has not stopped the run whatsoever this year. They're allowing 168 yards per game on the ground, well over 5 yards per carry, actually closer to 6. And if Buffalo could run the ball with how they're passing this year, it's going to create an equal balance and keep the short-handed Tennessee defense on its heels. I'm gonna use my Buffalo Bills here, minus the 3. I'm gonna buy it down from 3.5 to 3. I think Tony said you had to pay $1.25 to do that. That's actually a cheap price, as Louis alluded to. You lose a lot of value.
That on the minus 3.5, they had it lower juice, if you know. So they went to 3.5, dropped the juice, so you get a little cheaper.
Ordinarily, what Louis said, it would be like minus 130, even sometimes even 135, depending on what the juice is on the regular line.
So, at that stage, you got to go to teaser or money line, I think, and find a way to find a parlay with it.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a matter of opinion, and that's your prerogative. I'm going to buy the 3.5 down to 3 here on a key number,
there you go,
and I'll take the Buffalo Bills.
All right,
Chip Chirimbus.
And I'm looking to have some fun here, Brad. You know what Lonnie Smith's nickname was before he started slipping and sliding, running around second base in the playoffs? His nickname was Skates. His nickname was Skates because he never had sure footing, and that was just everyone on the team was obviously aware that was going to happen. But I've got a most interesting play of the day that the homer's not going to be too upset. You guys understand when you play teasers, you have to play more than one team, right? So you have to win twice to win one bet. But here, I don't mind buying points, and I'm going to buy it up to 4 from 3.5 because I'm taking the dog here. Those Buffalo Bills, they've had a great start. They only have to win by 1, 2, or 3 to make me a winner. My most interesting play is going to be how Tennessee responds. I'm going to have Tennessee because it just seems like all the factors, all the trends, the entire attitude is against them. They are at home. That's a big advantage with all those cardboard cutouts there. I'm going to take Tennessee.
Wait, say that again. You're
You're
buying it up.
I
for
can't
four.
repeat
Okay,
any of
I
it.
got it. I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
You threw me off with that teaser thing. All right, well, we'll see.
Well,
You know what
anything
I mean?
anything that opposes Buffalo, you're going to have a problem
Well,
with.
no,
honestly.
anything
I
that
get
opposes me at this particular moment.
that.
I think you get the biggest kick out of it. Anyway, no, we'll respectfully disagree. We'll see what happens,
Yeah.
Chip.
No problem. We'll argue about it later.
Louis, can you piggyback off of that great energy supplied by Chip Chirimbus?
There is no piggybacking that, but since I'm here, why not? We'll try. All right. I have to, I wouldn't be opposed to a teaser with the Titans as a closeout to, the 3-team teaser that I had yesterday. Now, you had Buffalo +3. Now you can get the Titans. And if you can wait for the 4 and then get, the teaser and get it up to 10, I wouldn't really be opposed to something like that. That'd be a nice little middle. I'm not sure I'm going to do that, but I think what I'm going to give you for my most interesting play, I'll just play more on the safe side, play the team that I think is going to win the game here tonight. And I'm going to say you're going to play a teaser with Buffalo and the over. And because you have to go to a 7-point teaser and the juice gets so expensive on a 2.7-point teaser, minus $1.40, terrible investment. So you need to get at least a third team in there. So now you're getting some return on your investment. So I would open up a 3-team teaser. I would start with Buffalo and the over, and I'd have an open spot because we got football tomorrow. We got football Thursday. We got football Friday. We are not going to be out of football. I think we got football every day for a while now. So as long as we do that, you can open up some teasers and play day to day. That's what I think is interesting.
All right, guys, gals, we're out of time. We're out of picks. I want to thank you to all the gentlemen. That's Tony Gullidge, Ross Benjamin, Chip Chirimbus, and Louis Bag of Diamonds. Thank you, guys. Special thanks to Eugene, our technical director, supervisor, and producer, Spotlight Film Productions. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time during the week, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the weekends. We do this on LouisDiamond.com, YouTube at Louis Diamond, on Facebook. I'm Brad, Bettor Center Live. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy Tuesday Night Football.